Gavin and I are big third party, independent minded
Sure.
people over here, kind of outside of the corporate controlled duopoly. And one of the pushbacks that we always get is, it's impossible to win as an independent. It's impossible to win as a third party. And our pushback is always, no, it's not impossible. It's really hard. But, Governor Ventura was able to run on a platform that was completely his own outside of the corporate system and win at the highest office in Minnesota. It can be done again. It could be replicated. I'm wondering, what are your thoughts and advice to share for people who feel like it's just an impossible battle, maybe don't remember the time when you were able to secure that victory in the governorship?
It's impossible because the very people you're talking to are the ones that make it impossible. And let me expound on that. We still have control, no matter what Donald Trump is lying about. We can vote into office who we want. And we as individuals in America, there's no law that says you have to vote for one of the two gangs. And I refer to them as gangs because they're no different. I wrote the book, Democrats and Republicans, No More Gangs in Government. And I apologize to the Crips and Bloods for using their name in that vein. And I say that because they're truly more dangerous than the Crips and the Bloods. You know why? The Crips and the Bloods only affect people who actually live amongst them. The Dems and Repubs affect the entire world and especially everyone in the United States. You can't run from them. You can't move to the suburbs and get away from Democrats and Republicans. They're everywhere. So they're more dangerous than any motorcycle club, street gang, or anybody else out there. And so can it be done? Yes. But it takes almost perfect circumstances. They're there right now. They're there right now. I would tell you guys this. You bring me Elon Musk, Mark Cuban, and maybe one other guy, finance me so that the whole world knows those are the two or three guys that put up enough money for me to run a campaign competitively against the Dems and Repubs, and I'll beat anybody they put up there. Because the key to it is you don't run against your opponents when you take them on. You run against the parties. The opponents are merely the figurehead for the party. They're nothing more but the puppet to carry out the party's will, the gang's will. And that's who I ran against. I ran against the parties because then here's what else has to happen, which would, if you had that kind of backing, you got to get in the debates. Because my cliche is if I can debate him, I can beat him. But you've got to get in the debates. That's the only way people know it's legit. And here's your problem, guys. Guess who controls the debates? The Democrats and Republicans. They formed a thing called the Debate Commission. It's made up of nothing but Democrat and Republican, wonks or nothing but, yes, their machinery. They're them. Well, they determine who gets to debate. Give you a story. Way back in the 90s when Ross Perot ran, Ross Perot got 20% of the vote in America, 1 out of 5. Okay? Now, I was in the Reform Party then, we were all prepared in the Reform Party. The next convention, we had 3-time governor, former Colorado Governor Dick Lamb, all ready to go. We thought this will be great. It's going to show the Reform Party's growing. We're not just Ross Perot. We're going to come back with a whole new credible candidate. This guy was a 3-term governor of Colorado who knew healthcare better than anybody at the time that I knew him, Dick Lamb. And so at the convention, Perot got jealous. His people formed up. They cut Lamb's legs out from underneath him, and Perot got the nomination again. That was where I realized, wait a minute, is this really a third-party movement, or is this Ross Perot's ego and money? And I came to the determination of the latter. But having said that, you move forward. Perot then ran. Well, here's what went down. Now, bear this in mind, guys. He just got 1 out of 5 votes in America, right? They wouldn't let him debate. Why? Because Bill Clinton and Bob Dole, who were the candidates that year, made a deal. Here was the deal. Clinton didn't want debates at all because he was so far ahead, he had it in the bag. And Dole felt that Perot would erode from his conservative base because Perot was hawkish on the deficit. That was Perot's big issue, the deficit. So they made an agreement. Normally, there's 3 presidential debates and 1 VP debate. They made an agreement amongst them. They would cut out Perot. He couldn't debate. Now, here's a guy that got 1 out of 5 votes. He was simply cut out of the debates. And to appease the Clinton side, the presidential debates went from 3 to 2 because Clinton didn't want debates. He was winning. They could only hurt him. And get this, both debates on purpose were held the same night as the World Series. So if you're a good American, you're going to watch the debates. But what do you really believe the Americans are going to watch? They're going to watch the World Series, and they probably had a good one. I can't remember even who played, But they did that on purpose, cut off 2 debates or 1 debate, threw it out, held it on the same night as the World Series to appease Clinton, and that way Dole got appeased. They just simply removed Perot. And then the rubber stamp commission, which is all their people, rubber stamped it, even though Perot had gotten 20% of the vote in the previous presidential election, which qualified him completely by their own standards to be in the debates. So that, guys, is what you're up against. How did I beat them? I got in the debates because the Democrats made a tactical error the same way. The Democrats thought because I'm fiscally conservative and socially liberal that I would erode from the Republicans' base. So they came out at the time, the Democrat was polling 46, the Republican was polling about 32, and I was at 9. The Dems said I earned the right to be there and that they would not debate unless I was included. I sat back in the corner like a Cheshire cat, and I said, you just lost the election, boys. And they included me in the debates. After the first debate, I started a meteoric rise in the polls. They couldn't stop it. The momentum built. And fortunately, here's some things in Minnesota that can give you a third party a win. We have through the modern elections, have always had same-day registration. So you can go down that day and register and vote the same day you register. We're not like Trump. We don't make it hard to vote. Same day registration. Well, when election day ended, they told me I was coaching football at the time. I wouldn't quit. I said, no. I coach in the toughest league in the state of Minnesota. There's 10,000 people at every game Friday night. So if you can't get me in front of 10,000 people, I'm in front of them on the football field coaching their kids. 10,000 of them see me doing that every Friday. I also said, book me in every college in the state in Minnesota to go there and speak. My guys said to me, that's crazy. College don't vote. You're wasting your precious time. I said, wait a minute. I said, first and foremost, we have to get the people who don't normally vote. And I said, second, all the college kids, they're like 20, 21 years old. I said, you think they got a chance to hear Jesse the Body Ventura on their campus and that they can then go vote for him? they're not going to do it. They started booking me in every college. Kids were hanging from the rafters when I'd speak. The day of the election, word came out at the University of Minnesota, the lines to register were longer than the lines to vote. It was right there, and we heard it was that way all over the state. We knew then we were going to win that morning. We said, these people ain't coming out to vote for Democrats and Republicans. They're coming out because there's something new. That's why. And it turned out, and I'll end the story here. We'll get to more questions. I get rolling, and because you're talking about a subject that's so dear to me. And the Minneapolis paper, after I won, said Ventura wins. And the subtitle underneath, campaign brings out throngs of young voters. And I'm so proud of that. And I can't tell you today how many people now who are about 40 years old, because it happened 20 years ago. I can't tell you how many 40-year-olds in that era come up to me today and say, you were the first person I ever voted for. And I can't tell you guys how good that makes me feel.